I'll tell you what, for most of us guys, there's one area in our body that if slightly impacted will send us directly to the ground in pain. And because of that, it keeps us from getting a particular type of elective surgery. Hang on, guys. I'm going to tell you about my journey and how I overcame the fear of getting this particular type of elective surgery. Stay tuned. I'll be right back here in a second. Hey, what's up, everybody? You guys know who I am, right? You don't know who I am? All right, I'm going to tell you. I am AndreReese.biz. And what do? Not only do I do taxes, I do a whole bunch of other stuff. I do retail. I help people get their businesses started, to get them off the ground, talk to people about taxes, all that good stuff. Book a consultation with me if you're not currently a client. Visit my website. You can find out all about what I do at AndreReese.biz. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to talk to you guys about a subject. And I'll tell you what, to kind of lead up to this, there is a procedure that I had done. I'll go ahead and say what it is right now. I got a vasectomy as a black male at the age of 51. So, and why do I say that? I say that because a lot of us brothers, we are definitely very sensitive when it comes to that subject, you know. And I'll tell you what, wherever I go, I mean, there's a song that's about that, but wherever I go, and if the subject of a vasectomy ever comes up, I don't care who the guy is, if he hasn't had one, he has a lot of questions to ask me about the procedure. And so I finally decided to go ahead and just do a video about it, because I talk about this subject a lot. And just from my perspective, it's a choice that I made on my end to take control over my life, and to be able to be responsible for myself 100% in all areas, and have things completely under control. So that's why I chose to get a vasectomy, you know, on my end. You know, I'm at the point where I don't want to have any more kids, especially at the age of 53. And we're familiar, you know, my man, you know, my boy, you know, Hugh Hefner, you know, rest in peace. You know, he had kids into his 70s and probably into his 80s. And I did not necessarily want to be that dude, you know. And so at 53, I decided, actually 51 is when I got the procedure done. I decided to go ahead and get the vasectomy done. And I'll tell you, I thought about getting it done and debated about getting it done for years, probably at least 10, 12, 13 years or so. I had really contemplated, but I just didn't have the courage to go ahead and go through with the procedure, because most of it I was scared, I was terrified. And whenever I did run into somebody that had the procedure done, I would always ask him questions about what happened and what went down. And in the end, I would always chicken out. I just opt out of basically going ahead and going through with it. So this whole video here is really to kind of, like I said, talk to you guys about what I went through from start to finish, and to give the information to you guys out there, so that way you can make a decision, you know, on what you choose to do to take control of your life if you decide to do that in this particular manner. And there's a whole bunch of different reasons to do it or to not do it. I'll leave that up to you to decide, and the people that are around you that are important. You guys can come to your own individual decision. But so let me go ahead and just get started. So like I said, I went ahead and got the procedure done when I was 51. And you got to kind of figure, I spent years and years and years, you know, contemplating that particular decision. And so once I got to the point where I was going through a divorce, and the divorce was going to be finalized, it was going to be into the future, you start making a lot of decisions about your life and where you are and where you're going to be, especially as you start, you know, getting closer to retirement age, you know. And one of the things I wanted to make sure that I took responsibility for, like I said, was to not have any more children. So at that point, I had Kaiser, and I went ahead and whoever you use, a HMO, a PPO, you have your own individual doctor. You're going to have to talk to your doctor or your medical association that you belong to, and they'll definitely guide you through the process. It really wasn't that difficult. So once I made the decision to go ahead and get the procedure done, I got on the phone, I just called Kaiser. I talked to the advice nurse and I said, hey, yo, I want to have a vasectomy. So she asked me a few basic questions, about if I had kids already, what my age was, blah, those type of things. And so from that point, there's a couple things that had to happen. One, I was going to receive a referral to the urology department. And number two, I had to go through with the first part of the screening process. So what that is, that's all done online. They basically sent me a link to my email. I clicked on the link, and then there was a series of videos that I had to watch. And when you watch the videos, it kind of goes through and tells you about what type of procedure that they use. Kaiser uses more of a minimal incision type of approach when it comes to doing a vasectomy, and so you have to watch videos about the procedure, how it goes down. And most importantly, I'd say probably 70% of the video is about them telling you that it's not going to work. The risk involved, that it's not going to work, the complications you're going to have, and that it's not going to work. So that way you are in your mindset of knowing that if you decide to go ahead and get this procedure done, you still have to be cautious and be aware that at some point your body, it's a wonderful thing, it may reverse itself, and you are no longer the surgical vasectomy you have can naturally reverse itself, and you can be back to where you were before, where you are capable of getting somebody inseminated. And the other thing too is that there was complications that can arise. They talked about all those type of things as well. And then there's additional things that were part of the video was letting you know that you had a certain amount of time to be able to get the procedure done, and the consent only lasted for so long. And once that was done, you had to basically go back and get yourself recertified. And then the final thing too is that they've spent a lot of time emphasizing is that utilizing a vasectomy as a form of permanent sterilization does not prevent typical STDs. You can still get STDs. It doesn't provide you any protection, so you still need to utilize those types of options to protect yourself from those things. And so once you are done watching the video and you sign off and you go ahead and click the button and send it off, then you're basically ready to go. You have your first stage of the process done. So the next thing I had to do was, once I was done with that, I received the referral to the urology department. I had to call them, and so I spoke with a nurse there. They give you some basic information about the procedure and what's happening, what's going to be going down, and most importantly, they tell you options you have in your schedule, in their schedule, and for you to be able to go there and have the procedure done. So ultimately, I ended up choosing a date to get everything done, and I went ahead and sat on the sidelines and kind of waited. And so in my mind, like I said, I went ahead and mentally prepared to make the phone call and got to that particular point. The next thing I had to do mentally was just get my mind right to being able to go to the doctor and have the procedure done. And so all of us guys, we have, we're sensitive about, our friends that we have. And, we typically don't like to expose them. So at times you have to overcome that you're going to be in a doctor's environment, and then other people are going to be seeing you, and you're going to feel definitely vulnerable. And so you have to kind of mentally get yourself up to that particular point. And I think the easiest thing to do is to say, hey, these people that are here working, I'm not the only person that they've seen today, and they've seen thousands of people in their careers, if not tens of thousands, and there's probably very little judgment that you will be receiving from them. So like I said, I got to the point where I got myself mentally ready, and my appointment comes up. So what they recommend is that if you arrive, you really got to talk to your doctor, and every medical location is different. When you arrive on site, they give you two options. They prefer to have you be taken home, but if you're able to drive yourself there and hang out for a while afterwards to make sure that there's no issues, and then they give you the clearance to go ahead and drive yourself home, you can definitely go ahead and do that. And then part of the other thing that they do in the lead up that the urology department does. They tell you about different things that you're going to need to have on standby, prescriptions for pain, how to treat pain, the type of work that you should be doing, at what stages that you can start to work after you've had this, invasive procedure done. And so they could definitely go through all those things with you. So once I got to the point where I was at the hospital, I'm there, I'm checking in, I got all my stuff that I needed to have at home. I brought what I needed to bring with me. I get to the waiting room 15, 20 minutes early, if not even a little bit sooner than that, a little bit longer than that. And I'm sitting there kind of nervous, waiting. And I'm just kind of watching, the treatment, actually watching people come and go, people kind of walking out slow. Obviously, they just had the procedure done, and then the folks that were there before me as they went in. And I noticed that when I was there, I was also paying attention to who was, calling you back and those type of things. And it seemed like that there was a different person that would come and grab you. So they probably had a staff of people that were working on the inside of it. So not that big of a deal. So I sat down, wait, they called my name eventually. And I come and walk back, and it's the lady that came to get me, she led me back to the room, and she was making small talk, which was really nice. It kind of put me at ease. I know she was kind of a fly girl. She had on some rose glasses, had her nails all done. She had nice eyelashes and that whole thing. And so I was feeling a little bit nervous at that point. I was like, okay, if she's going to be in the room, she's going to see me, and so she leads me into the room. And as I'm walking, I said, are you going to be part of the procedure? Because she had on some basic, scrubs and, gown type of stuff. She said, yeah, I'll be in there helping and assisting you. And I said, okay, cool. And then I get inside the room, and then there's another lady in there as well. Older sister. She was very nice, and she introduced herself, and, we made some small talk, and I kind of joked around with the ladies a little bit, to try to relieve a little bit of pressure. But I was a little bit, concerned that the ladies are going to be in the room there while the procedure was being done. But I tell you what, they put me at ease and made me feel very, very comfortable. So I sat down, and then I followed their instructions, and then you basically disrobe and put on the hospital gear that they want you to, and not that big of a deal. And then they kind of go through there's a process where they have to clean you up, because you're coming in there and they clean you up because you're going to have surgery done. They're talking to you. They're going to be telling you information about what's going to happen with the doctor, and these are things that you already know already because you've watched the video and all that. And I'll tell you what, at that point I was really terrified because two females in the room. I'm on the table, they're talking to me, making small talk. I have myself all completely exposed, But I'll tell you what, they made a brother feel very, very comfortable and, very secure, and their ability to definitely help and treat me. And so they led me through the process. And so they got me ready. I was on the table. And at this point, they're in the room kind of behind me, and then the doctor comes in. And he greets me. He tells me about what he's going to end up doing. And so essentially what they do is they take some numbing solution and general anesthetic, and then he numbs one side of your region, and then he goes down to the other side and he numbs that as well. And they don't do anything with the main part that we're familiar with. They're only dealing with the epididymis. I think that's what they call it. That's kind of the technical term. They're basically numbing both sides. And so he's doing a couple checks there, almost like if you go get a tooth filled, they come back and let you sit there for a little while. Then they come back and they'd say, hey, do you feel this? Do you feel that? Nope. And so at that point, he begins the process. And so the ladies come around and they're providing, scalpels and whatever it is that they are giving him. He makes one incision, and I'll tell you what, guys, I know all you guys are really concerned about the pain. The most pain that I felt was the initial prick of the needle. The initial prick of the needle when they were injecting me with the anesthesia. That was the most pain that I felt. So on a scale of 1 to 10, adjusting for the region that it's in, it was probably about a 2. If it was inside your mouth, it's very similar to the type of prick that you would feel or the amount of pain that you would feel. So it was very minimal. And from that point, I didn't feel anything at all after that. I think I was more terrified about the two ladies being in the room, and I think I was more terrified about the needle and the incision. In the end, the ladies being in the room was not a big deal at all. And then also on top of that, receiving the prick from the needle was not that big deal at all. From that point, like I said, the doctor kind of chills out for a minute. He waits. He's asking me some questions. Oh, what's your favorite team? You know, blah, blah, blah. That kind of just stuff that guys talk about, you know. And then he does the little check, no pain. And then he starts the incision, and I don't feel a thing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then from that point, I hear him charging the cauterizing machine. And then he goes, and you can hear it burn. And then you can hear him do another thing. You can hear it burn. And then from the burn, you can smell it. And I was like, oh, okay, that smells like barbecue meat. You know? And that was it. And from that point, he was done, and he did the incision on the first side. Then he scooted around to the second side, and I was like, okay, we're not. It's not so bad. And then he went ahead and did the same thing on the other side. He did the general anesthesia and waited for a couple seconds, and then checked. No pain. You know, like I said, the only thing I felt there was the prick when they injected the anesthesia, and then from that point, I didn't feel anything at all. You know, and then so the same thing, he went and did the little incision, and it's a micro incision. He pulls out the tube, and then he cuts it, and then he turns around, and he charges the cauterizer. You hear a zip, and then you smell some smoke, and then you hear it again, zip, and then you smell some more smoke, and then at the point he's done, he buttons up his work, and then he basically is like, peace, I'm out of here, guys. And then from that particular point, the only thing was left, I was on the table laying down on my back. The ladies were still in the room. The doctor said goodbye. He gave me final instructions on what to do. And then from that point, the ladies are the ones that helped me get myself together. And so one of the things that you have to bring in is a special type of supportive device, a jock strap. You know, they helped me get into that. And then I sat there, and they helped me get dressed. And then we kind of talked and kind of joked around a little bit, you know, when it was all said and done. And then they ended up walking me out to the waiting room. And then I stayed out in the waiting room. And then I went downstairs. I stayed in the waiting room for 15, 20 minutes. I went down to the pharmacy and got some items down there. I think I got some pain pills. I don't think I ended up stopping to get anything from the store. So I got some pain pills, and then went home. That was it. You know, and so once I got home, it was not that big of a deal, you know, so I just followed the instructions, you know, for care. And so after that, I think the psychological trauma that I experienced, you know, in my mind that was going to be there for the procedure, it was kind of like, wow, you know, when I'm back, I'm resting, I'm like, wow, I kind of blew this whole thing out of proportion. It was an incredible amount of proportion that I blew it out of, you know, and so in the end, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And so from that point, they pretty much don't want you to do any type of work at all and do any type of physical lifting, you know, for 7 days, 10 days, or whatever. They're going to give you a schedule, so you're going to have to talk to your urologist, and they'll basically break it down to you what your schedule should be when it comes to, you know, getting back to, you know, doing stuff. But really, for the most part, you can just kind of take a chill pill. And then there was a point where I think for the first 48 or 72 hours, you can't take a shower. You know, I was cool with that, you know, and then so once you finally do take a shower, there's a procedure that they have for how to wash yourself. And so really for about 2 weeks or so, you got to really play it safe. And then after that, you're good to go. And so the final thing is they warn you, they say, hey, you know, you can still have seminal fluid that can get somebody pregnant, you know, so you have to use precautions. And there's a cycle of 20 or 30 cycles that you have to go through before you're almost sure that the fluid that can impregnate somebody is gone from your body, you know. And so you have to go through a cycle to try to actively purge your body of that. And then once you've done that, and I think there's a period of 30 days have gone by, you have to have at least these number of cycles, plus you have to also you know, wait a certain amount of time. Once you've achieved both of those things in concert, the last thing to do is basically go to the back to the laboratory, make an appointment or drop in, and then submit to them a sample. And then once they receive the sample, they will test it, and they will confirm at that point that you are no longer capable of getting someone pregnant. And if that's the case, you know, you're going to do the one person wave. You know, bring it back, you know, or you're going to celebrate. But if for some reason there was an issue or problem with the procedure, it's going to show up when you take that final test. And so at that particular point, you're going to have to readdress those issues. Although rare, they do happen. You're going to have to readdress those with medical staff that perform, the procedure for you. So that's it, guys. In the end, getting a vasectomy really wasn't that big of a deal. I say I put 99,000 pounds of pressure on myself and kept myself from going to get the procedure. But in the end, it was near painless, and the recovery time was really not that big of a deal. I occasionally felt a little bit of pain. I took a Aleve or Advil or whatever it was that they said. But after about 2 or 3 days or so, I was cool. And then the rest of that is just really taking it easy. Just following the exact instructions that they give you at the medical facility that you use. So that's it, guys. I would definitely recommend for the fellas out there, if this is something that you've considered or thought about doing, you've been terrified, because like I said, it just takes a minor amount of impact to bring any of us to the ground. And I know that we've learned all that at a very, very early age. But if you're going to take control of your life and minimize financial risk, if you want to look at it that way, this is one complete and thorough option. But like I said, with any type of surgery elective, there's always going to be a risk. So you're going to definitely want to talk to your doctor and understand those before you enter into procedure. So that's it, guys. I'll go ahead and wrap everything up here. And like I said, I recommend all men at the point in your life when you're ready to go ahead and consider getting a vasectomy. And the last thing here, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to this video. I definitely appreciate it for sure. I'm trying to get my viewership up and my subscribership up as well. I'm trying to get to 1,000, 1,000 subs. That way I can monetize my channel. The only way I can do that is by you guys hitting the subscription button, and make sure you hit the bell. That way you get notified when I do post a video. Then on top of that, go ahead and hit the like button for sure. And I kind of mentioned it just real quick. I kind of mentioned it before. A lot of us black men are very, very sensitive when it comes to this particular subject. And I think the people that have overall been the most interested and in this have been my brothers out there. And like I said, I always encourage every one of them to go and get it done when you're ready. So I definitely encourage you, no matter what nationality you are, but specifically the brothers, it's really not that big of a deal. I know we have, we have special relationships with ourselves, but ultimately in the end, it's a great way to take control of life. So that's it, guys. Peace. I will see you on the other side. Be safe out there, and we'll talk again soon. All right, guys. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end of this video. Visit me directly at andrereese.biz. 4 things to do: like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell. Stay safe, guys. Lift the glass to freedom. Stay woke and don't get TikTok. Take care. I will see you guys in the next video.